Dear students, I welcome you all to the 23rd session of Histology, Animal Behavior and Applied Zoology paper prescribed by the Mangalore University for 4th semester BSc Zoology. In this session, we shall consider parental care, a bit of introduction about it, and parental care in fishes. The term parental care can be defined as an association or bond between the parents and their offspring so as to increase the chances of survival of their young ones. In case of fishes, it includes the events of the spawning or hatching of the eggs has occurred and the care of the offspring is taken by their parents. It has been observed that most fishes do not care for their eggs or young ones, which are also known as hatchlings or fingerlings, and the parents leave the spawning grounds soon after fertilization. So this handicap of lack of parental behavior in many fishes is taken care by often the production of great number of eggs and spawns. For examples, the salmons, where there is no parental care, they produce millions of eggs. It has been believed that a single Pacific salmon can produce 28 million eggs per clutch. So species which do not show any special behavior for the safety of the eggs generally produce a very large number of eggs to increase the chances of survival of at least a few of them. Eggs of many species possess various mechanisms for attachment to stones, pebbles, or aquatic vegetation so that they are prevented from being washed away with the current of water. But there are many fishes where definite parental care has been evolved. Much such behaviors has been evolved among the fishes so as to ensure the proper development of eggs into adults, which drastically increases the chances of their survival in the nature. In this phenomenon of parental care, one or both sexes may participate. So let us study few examples of parental care in fishes where the parents have adopted to the extreme levels to care for their young ones and to make sure that their chances of survival has been increased dramatically. One such example that could be cited is hippocampus, commonly called as a sea horse, because of its peculiar head, which almost looks like the head of the horse. The caudal fin in this fish is absent and the tail is prehensile. The reproductive behavior of the seahorses is notable in that since the male carries the fertilized eggs in a very peculiar phenomenon called male pregnancy. After an elaborate courtship, the female uses an ovipositor, the egg duct, to place her eggs into the brood pouch located at the base of the male's tail, where the eggs are later fertilized. You can see here a swollen belly of the male hippocampus And this swollen belly of the hippocampus is called a brood pouch, where, with the help of ovipositor, the female places her eggs. Depending upon the species, the eggs remain in the pouch between 10 days to 6 weeks. So the duration of gestation in this brood pouch, male brood pouch, depends upon the kind of species. In some it is around 10 days, in some it may last up to 6 weeks too. During this time, the male nurtures the developing young by regulating the chemistry of the fluid inside the pouch, slowly transforming it from that of his internal body fluids so that of the salt water as pregnancy progresses. To nourish the growing young, the male also produces inorganic compounds and releases the hormone prolactin, which helps to break down the proteins contributed by the female. Once the egg hatches, the male convoluses his body and expels the young through a single opening in the pouch. You can see here there's a small opening. So once the eggs hatch out and once these fingerlings are ready to be sent out, the male convoluses his body in such a way that the young ones present in this brood pouch are expelled out. The youngs are the miniature version of their parents that receive no further care. You can see here the young one which has just come out of this brood pouch is almost resembling the parent here. Okay, they are just the miniatures of the parents. So there is no further care involved. Okay, the male can receive another brood of eggs almost immediately after giving birth. So once this fingerlings hatch out of the brood pouch, the female will be ready again to place the eggs in these brood pouches. And in some species of seahorses, the male and female remain together for a long time, making a monogamous pair bond throughout the breeding season and produce many broods. In the breeding season, if they pair up means they generally may not break up. The entire breeding season, they just try to produce more and more broods. The next example of parental care in fishes could be observed in Ophiocephalus. This is also called as Ceylon snakehead. The name is given just because the body contour of these fishes mimics the snakes. This Ophiocephalus is characterized by a special parental caring ability called mouse brooding. All snakeheads are mouth brooders. Now let us see what is this mouse breeding. The males in Ophiocephalus carries the eggs while the females guard the territories. The male is less active during this period and is often seen close to the surface. The fry remains with the male until they can take care of themselves. The females may catch stray fry and return them to the mouth of the male. The fry are ejected via the gill openings. So this Ophiocephalus is characterized by its special ability to care for their young ones by keeping them in its mouth, the male fish. So during this time, the male is less active and they are often found very near to the shores. So these fries remain with the males until they can take care of themselves. And the duty of the female is to guard the territory and to check any fry that is being strayed and guiding them back to the mouth of the male. The fertilized eggs of these fishes are usually buoyant in nature and are adhered to each other, forming an egg mass of 6 to 14 centimeters of diameter, containing around 2,500 to 4,000 eggs. You can see here a small dot-like structures. They are all the eggs of these fishes, which are simply adhered to this vegetation underwater. Then unfertilized eggs were not adhesive and were found scattered in the tank. So the major difference here is the fertilized eggs are adhesive and unfertilized eggs are simply straight down. They don't adhere themselves to any part of the body, any part of the vegetation or anything else. They are simply scattered in the tank if they are being reared, or simply scattered in the places if they are in their natural habitat. So in both species of this Ophiocephalus, the male guards the fertilized egg. So after hatching, the male moved around the hatchlings and ventilated them with its pectoral fins. This is very important. Immediately after the hatching, male move around these hatchlings and ventilate these places with the help of its pectoral fins. And at this time, they are aggressive, and it keeps these young ones under surveillance all the time. So at the peak of their courtship, the pair embrace in similar way to anabondage. They embrace with one another, and the male collects the fertilized eggs in his mouth, where they normally remain for a period of 3 to 5 days. Although some individuals have been observed to hold the fry up to 10 days also. Once released, the young fish are easy to raise with females producing infertile eggs in order to feed them once they become free. Brood care may extend for several weeks, and fry tend to grow faster when left with the parents rather than raised elsewhere. So it's because the parents care for their fingerlings and fries until they are independent or free swimming by producing infertile eggs as food, by guarding them by any invaders and other predators, keeping them in their mouths for a long time until they are free swimmers. The next example that could be cited for the parental care in fishes is parental care in tilapia. This species belongs to the genus called Oreochromis, which is the recent name. Earlier it used to be called as tilapia. These fish are also very well known for their ability of mouth brooding, oral incubation of eggs and larvae. Similar to other tilapians, the Nile tilapia are maternal mouth brooders. In the previous example of Ophiocephalus, we have seen the male mouth brooders. Here in tilapians, we have taken one example of Nile tilapia, which is common in Nile River. They are characterized by maternal mouth brooding. That means the female take care of their eggs and young ones. An extensive care is therefore provided almost exclusively by the female. After spawning in a nest made by a male, the young fries or eggs are carried in the mouth of the mother for a period of around 12 days. Sometimes the mother pushes the young back into her mouth if she believes they are not ready for the outside. Okay? They are kept in her mouth until she thinks that they are independent. So here you can see the mother tilapia keeping the fingerlings in her mouth and just releasing them out. These tilapians also demonstrate the parental care in times of extreme dangers. When approached by a danger, something like a predator or some other big fishes, the young often swim back into the protection of their mother's mouth. However, the mouth brooding leads to significant metabolic modifications for the parents, usually the mother, as reflected by fluctuations in her body weight and low fitness. Thus, parental offspring conflict can be observed through the costs and benefits of mouth brooding. Protection of the young ensures passage of an individual's gene into the future generations, but caring for the young also reduces an individual's own reproductive fitness. So here, if the mother has to carry them inside her mouth, means there's a lot of problems in eating the food and other things, so she may not be able to get the food in, which considerably reduces her fitness by increasing the fitness of her offspring. Since the female Nile tilapia exhibiting parental care show extended inter-spawning periods, one of the benefits is slowing down vitellogenesis or yolk deposition to increase the survival rate of one's own young. So that means if she keeps these young ones and eggs in her mouth for a long time, she simply extends her winter spawning period, the period where she is not going to spawn. That considerably reduces her reproductive fitness too. The size of the spawned eggs correlates directly with the advantages concerning hatching time, growth, survival, and onset of feeding, since increased egg size means increased nutrients for the developing young ones. Thus, one of the reasons behind a delayed interspawning period by the female Nile tilapia may be for the benefit of offspring's survival. So when compared with the interspawning periods of other fishes, it is too elaborate in Nile tilapians, which is believed to influence a lot. The next example of the parental care in fish is parental care in Aries. This is a catfish. The phenomenon of parental care exhibited by this Aries fish is exceedingly interesting. As soon as the eggs are laid by the female, the male fertilizes and transfers them into his mouth. The oral gestation lasts for a very long time, the embryos remaining in the mouth till the yolk sac is not visible. During this period, the male parent actually starves. See, since these eggs and developing young ones are kept in the mouth for a long time, that means until the loss of yolk sac of these young individuals. That means it may take several days. So as a result of this, by keeping these young ones in his mouth, he is now unable to take any kind of food, as a result of which he may starve for a long time. So during this time, the alimentary canal of Aries becomes very thin and wiry, with absolutely no food content in it. The number of eggs carried by a single male varies from 30 to 40 on an average. Probably due to fright, these fishes blow out the embryos when caught. So if you catch these fishes, they simply, blow out the embryos. Therefore, in order to get a specimen with embryos in the pharyngeal cavity, the procedure adopted was to hold the pectoral fins close to the body, thus preventing the fish from opening its mouth. See, while studying these fishes, it was terribly difficult to get a specimen having the young ones in its pharynx or pharyngeal cavity, where actually these embryos are carried and nourished. So if you catch them up, just because of a threatening sign, he immediately releases all these embryos out. He just blows these embryos. So in order to catch the specimen, holding these fingerlings and eggs in its mouth, you have to catch hold of the pectoral fins very close to the body, so that you cannot open their mouth. And these are the few examples of parental care in fishes that are prescribed in your syllabus. There are many other types of parental care. Very wonderful adaptations are exhibited by the animals and fishes to produce a very kind of parental care. So such different types of parental cares and other such animal behaviors could be studied in these textbooks, which are commonly available in our libraries. Thank you.